What is the absolute limit of human cruelty? How much pain can one person endure before the world simply stops making sense? This is a story about those questions, a case so horrifying, so deeply unsettling, that it forces us to confront the very worst of what people are capable of. This is the story of Junko Furuta, and this is Terror at 12 a.m. Our story begins not with a monster, but with a girl. Junko Furuta was 17 in 1988. By all accounts, she was a normal teenager, studious, kind, working a part-time job to be more independent. She had her whole life ahead of her. But in her class was a boy named Shinji Minato. And Minato wasn't just a student. He was a low-level member of the Yakuza, part of a young, violent group known as Shinpira. When Junko repeatedly rejected his advances, it wasn't just his pride that was wounded. It was a spark that lit a fuse of unimaginable brutality. On November 25th, 1988, Minato and his 18-year-old ringleader, Hiroshi Miyano, saw their opportunity. As Junko cycled home from work, Minato assaulted her, kicking her off her bicycle in a blatant act of intimidation. Then, Miyano entered the scene, playing the part of the concerned bystander. He offered to walk her home to make sure she was safe. Trusting, Junko agreed. It was a decision that would seal her fate. Once they were alone, Miyano revealed his true nature, threatening her with his Yakuza connections and forcing her to a secluded warehouse. This was only the beginning. Over the next 44 days, Junko would be held captive in a house owned by Minato's parents. She became the plaything for Minato, Miyano, and two other teenagers, Yasushi Watanabe and Yo Ogura. What happened in that house defies comprehension. It was a sustained, escalating campaign of torture designed to break a human being, body, and soul. Let's be clear, I will not describe the very worst of what was done to her. Some details are too vile for this channel, but to understand the scale of this evil, you need to know some of it. She was beaten relentlessly. Firecrackers were inserted into her body and set off. She was burned with cigarettes and lighters. She was forced to sleep naked on a balcony in the freezing November cold. They starved her, feeding her only traces of milk and, at times, insects. They used weights and medicine balls to crush her. And perhaps one of the most chilling facts, over 100 different people are known to have entered that house during her captivity to witness, participate, or abuse her themselves. Not one of them went to the police. When Junko's parents reported her missing, the police began a search. But her captors had a plan. They forced Junko to call her parents. On the phone, she lied. She told them she had run away with a friend and was fine, pleading with them to call off the investigation. Her parents, though confused, believed their daughter's voice. The police scaled back their efforts. The last thread of hope had been deliberately severed by the very people holding her captive. Even when Minato's own parents and brother unexpectedly visited the house and saw Junko, they did nothing. Miyano threatened them into silence, and they complied, choosing their own safety over the life of a teenage girl being tortured under their own roof. torture finally ended on January 4th, 1989. In a final, cruel twist, her captors forced her to play a game of mahjong. When their leader, Miyano, lost, his rage boiled over. In a final violent outburst, they burned her with alcohol, beat her, and Junko Furuta finally died. Her body was disposed of in a steel drum filled with cement, discarded like garbage. So, how were these monsters caught? Ironically, not for Junko's murder. Miyano and Ogura were arrested for a separate, lesser crime, the gang assault of another woman. During interrogations, and under the mistaken belief that his friend was confessing, Miyano revealed the location of Junko's body. The evidence was overwhelming. The public was rightfully horrified. A major newspaper took the unprecedented step of publishing the perpetrators' names despite their ages, due to the extreme nature of the crime. And what was the price they paid for 44 days of hell? A pittance. Because 3 of the 4 were minors, their sentences were shockingly light. The ringleader, Hiroshi Miyano, received only 17 years in prison. The others received sentences between 5 and 7 years. They have all since been released back into society. Some have reoffended. This case leaves us with a sickening feeling. It's a story not just of evil, but of complicity, from the over 100 visitors to the parents who looked away. It challenges our belief in justice and forces us to ask, what is the appropriate punishment for a crime of this magnitude? Junko Furuta's story is a dark stain, a reminder of the abyss that exists within humanity. It's a story we must remember, not for the sake of morbidity, but to ensure we never, ever allow such darkness to flourish again. If you found this story impactful, please share it, discuss it. Let's keep the memory of what happened alive. Thank you for watching Terror at 12 a.m. Stay aware.